Hello, happy Sunday, and welcome to Tough Roundtable, a new series from the Tough Talk platform to keep community conversations going. My name is BJ Robinson, and I am your host. My guests today are a wonderful select bunch of people who are good friends and have been really great allies to me personally and beyond, especially through this past year. My guests are Kevin Blax Burroughs, Sarah Alida LeClair, Tanika Baptiste, Alyssa Ajay Junious, and Peter Armado. Good morning, afternoon, and we're somewhere in there. Happy Sunday to you all.
Good morning. New Year. Happy Sunday.
Happy New Year indeed.
Happy New Year.
Thank you all for being here. Today, we're gonna kind of just get things going in our first episode of some Tough Roundtable, talking about some reflections on 2020 as it's finally in the past. But certainly those who cannot remember the past are condemned to repeat it. Let's avoid that, right? As well as expectations as they may be for 2021. And then we'll be continuing the conversations around things such as the pandemic, vaccines and the vaccine rollout and all of that, as well as the ever-changing current state of American politics. Oh boy, so much to get into. But let's pull back for a second. Kind of just want to go around, little check-in. How are you doing? And what are some thoughts, some reflections on 2020 as you might have to share with us? Blax, I'm going to start with you.
Well, I was one of the lucky ones to not have such a great 2020. It, shit happened, as we all know. I left a place that I worked for 5 years that I felt like property at. So that was good for me. Me and AJ actually started a brand new company, Teatro San Diego. Whoop whoop. So it's like such a big mix of ups and downs. I'm trying to find the good stuff and kind of just disregard after I heal, and learn from it. But it just overall, it was just a lot, a lot. But I'm hopeful for 2021, and it sounds so cliche to be like, new year, new opportunities in me and stuff. But after 2020, I sure as hell hope so. But yeah, I'm hopeful to an extent. To an extent.
To an extent, it's fair. Yeah, and I mean, yeah, it's we do the new year, new me thing. For me, I guess my slight change of it for this year is change of year, change in me.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah.
Because it's not the same at all.
Right.
It's not the same kind of new. It's a new, but it's a different kind of new.
Adapting. Yeah.
Yeah. AJ, I want to come to you next to kind of follow on that. How are you? How you feeling? And from 2020 to 2021.
Yeah, 2020 for me was a whirlwind. I think it's like that for everybody. It started off like a steam train and boom, just got hit with, stillness, which is not normal for me. And I realized what I came to realize through 2020 that this need to overproduce, to overcompensate had to do a lot with me dealing with white supremacy and capitalism. So this was the year 2020 was the year of naming things, putting a name to the bullshit that we all go through individually, and then collectively saying this shit is fucked up. And it was so good to collectively say it together as a so for me it was the first time I was able to collectively name things that I was going through in my individual experience of working with these various companies as an artist and also as a Pilates practitioner. I finally felt seen, felt, and heard by my people, not by the systems, but I had this now new community that I wasn't in touch with because I was in survival mode. I'm trying to make this work. And so denying myself of the feeling to be like, this is fucked up, was now released. So for me, 2020, although, we'll get to talking about, COVID-19 and the pandemic, but for me personally was a year of naming things and naming who is for me and who I now form partnerships with. So yeah, so that's kind of in a nutshell. Just want to put that out there.
I love that. Ooh, we're gonna keep coming back to that because that's like metamorphosis magic in all the right ways, and certainly 2020 had plenty of sparks for new activations, for new changes for a lot of us. Sarah, I want to come to you next. How are you? Thank you for being here, and from 2020 to 2021.
I'm really excited about I'm still carrying that joy that happened when they finally declared the election results. And the party in the street, like as much as these things keep happening, it's such a freedom to read the newspaper in the morning, and it's not just 40 ways that something's coming to hurt you and the people that you love. And that's what it was for, like, it's been that way for years, obviously, and then more intensively for the last 4 years, and like especially intensely this last year, where they're like, here's all the ways your government is trying to kill you and the people that you love. So it's been so nice to at least have, like, this period, as stressful as it is, to have the hope of, like, we don't know if something awful is going to happen next week, but it also might not. Like, that's the most hope that I've had in a while. So it's kind of a good feeling. And I love what Ajay said about when you're in survival mode, you can't really process what's happening to you, and like how to move forward, and how to be that great ally. And I feel like as artists, I know I personally didn't realize how busy and how stacked my life was until it was all taken away and stopped. And then to realize, okay, I have to really re-examine what I'm doing, and like how I'm complicit in a system that, has these inherent biases, and whether I'm an ally or not, am I doing my job? Am I working as hard as I could? And, am I smiling when I should be offending? So it's been an interesting year, of course, for all of us as artists, but it's, a year of growth, painful as it has been.
Painful and powerful, and powerful. And that's, yes, I think we've all had that wave several times over through our paths this past year. That's I think that's for sure. Peter, let me come to you next. Thank you for being here. And how are you feeling from 20 to 2021?
I think growth, with also just a lot of anger and frustration, but trying to get that out in a way that I can't, I guess, can't even explain how that feels right now. So the beginning of the year started really well. I was actually getting really excited. I had 4 weeks of showcase auditions scheduled in March and April, and those were all just canceled by the lockdowns. And I had all these opportunities to showcase myself to some really important people, and those just went away. And so that was a huge hit to me, and I didn't handle it well. And it just feels like, while we're all still in this situation, how do we move forward? I hate the online acting kind of thing. I don't feel the same connection. It's not fulfilling to me as an artist. So like, I just feel empty, and I don't want to do these online things. So I haven't joined in anything really. But there are also like great things. Like, I started eating healthier. I started exercising more. I made new friends that I play video games with all the time. It just feels like the whole year we haven't been able to celebrate our joys or grieve over our losses together. And I'm looking forward to getting to that. I think it'll be such a weird, scary, relieving moment when that does happen, because when we get back to things, we'll all be excited to see each other, but people will be missing from the mix. and venues that we used to go to will be missing, and it's not going to be the same. And I just feel like I still am kind of in a limbo right now. I don't know how to move forward when I'm stuck at home. But I think I'm just going to keep fighting, keep doing what I'm doing, keep posting online. I've learned to not take bullshit. I've learned to not tailor my words to be more palatable for white audiences. I will not do that anymore. And I like that. I'm going to keep doing that. Yeah, I wish I had a more distinct plan of how I want to move forward, but I just feel like it's kind of up in the air.
There's so much that's just, it feels like it's just dangling, and it feels like it got tossed up and nothing's coming down. And it's like, there's that feeling of, I need something to just come down so that I can start to figure anything out. I feel that. I feel you on that so much. And I'm definitely, we're going to come back around on some other things. I want to come back around and have us share and have moments of acknowledging things we've lost certainly this year, because I know you shared a little on that with me, and we're going to get more to it. But I also just want to comment and acknowledge in the moment that you are absolutely one of the people who inspire and fuel me to keep engaging with an unapologetic voice day in and day out. And I can't ever thank you enough for that. It's part of why you're here, because
thank you, and likewise.
you bring that to me like daily, man. You really do.
Cool.
Thank you. Tanika, coming in from, are you still up in San Fran?
No, I'm actually in Wichita, Kansas.
That's right. Oh my gosh, Kansas now.
Yes, I'm helping my sister with childcare. Her the two oldest ones were going to school, so somebody needs to be here so they can go to school. 2020. So let me just be real transparent. I always had a chip on my shoulder as an actor. I always felt like I had to, like I was pissed off that nobody was giving me like a real opportunity and a chance and like believing in me. So I always knew I have to believe in myself like the most. They're gonna look at me and they're gonna see what they see, and that's it. They're gonna put me in a box. So I feel like this year has been a year where this is the closest I think everybody has felt like had the Black experience or the Black and brown experience. You have all this potential, you have all this talent, you have all these dreams, and you just have to sit on that shit. You can't do nothing. You just have to sit in that potential energy. And so I think my chip on my shoulder has made me pour myself into being as resilient as possible. Like, we are all resilient people. So like this year I wasn't able to act, but I am able to direct because people want to hire directors. So like, let me really learn and get these tools and like just take the plunge. So it was about trying new things. It was about collaborating with as many people as possible. Maybe it's toxic positivity, but I was like, hell, I'm not dead. So I have to just keep going. I got to work with Sarah. Sarah was an actor in Destroyers and Antigone at the Wall. And she's just been like the sweetest, best ally like ever. Like for Juneteenth, she played all these tracks. She rehearsed with folks. Like when you want to be an ally, like that is Sarah. That's what you need to do. BJ came on as a panelist. He's been very supportive in different Zoom conference rooms. Like I just appreciate you both so much. Kevin, he asked me to sing with the light video, and I told him, I was like, yo, you inspired me. When he started learning how to be a lighting designer and do all that, like, I am so proud of you. AJ, I'm just getting to know you, but the first time I met you, you have such passion and fire. And Peter, we go back to Rent, which I'm about to do again online. So like, never it's taught me to it's about community, it's about collaboration, it's about being resilient. I don't know if you have a spiritual basis or not, but just know that there is good. You have to continue to stay in good. You have to continue to be around people who love and support you. You're not going to make it by yourself. And that, I think I was going so hard. I missed Thanksgiving and Christmas with my family. I didn't get to meet my nephew and my niece, who were born. So I've got to spend a lot of time with them. So it's just put a lot of things in perspective. But, you know, especially being a Black woman, you gotta always be resilient. You cannot fold. Like, they want you to fold. So just know that, yeah, trouble doesn't last always. This was a hard ass year. People died, but we can get through anything together. Yeah, that's what I'm taking with me from 2020.
Tanika, you are officially my new Lady Liberty. That's going to be what I'm calling you from now on, because, I mean, woof! That just did it. That just did it. I mean, this is like a great just kind of little segue to it, because, you know, thank you all. Again, it's like, thank you all for being here. You all have been lights in my life this past year for many and plenty a reason, through just being inspired by your actions and your willingness to speak up, to speak out, to activate, to move forward. And I mean, I've tried to just follow in that and take that energy to keep moving forward with it myself. You know, so many of you came and gave different presentations at times with Tough Talks, and a lot of that's even on like the recapped series that I've got on the YouTube playlist that people can check out. And then, I mean, yes, just through all of the so many different things, you know, Blax, with when we first started working on that video on Light, I mean, I didn't know who you were, and I was just so like, I was so grateful that it was like someone who doesn't know me can take time to like contact me and ask me to be a part of something that's just, you know, intended to bring people together and lift us up. And you know, I'm so excited for what Teatro San Diego's going to be bringing, what it's already brought, what it's already doing to show people how to get some things done. We can't have too many examples of things of how to get it done, how to get it right in this world right now. We cannot have too many examples. Sarah, there were so many people who I got to hear kind of just doing this, like, who is she at Juneteenth? And I kept walking up to people I didn't know and saying, she's the right ally. She's the right ally. She's an example of an ally. That's who she is. That's who she is. And that's why she is here and doing what she's doing. So, you know, don't question others, question yourselves, is what I'm saying to people on that, okay? That's how that's got to work. And you were magnificent in Destroyers and Antigone. Those were both fantastic. Tanika, your craft is brilliant. And I'm stoked to keep seeing everything you're doing right now. You know, Ajay and we first had our simple encounter during Hall Pass last fall. You know, and that was like a blimp in the moment in the sky. And then the next thing, you know, we're working in tandem to build new curriculums and try and start up new programs in the midst of seeing so many things with the arts shutting down, as well as expanding our own platforms and horizons. And I mean, I feel like you're my sister. And I feel like I have a new sister, literally, when it's just like, all right, let's chat and check in and figure out what the heck we're doing next with some of this mess. And I'm so grateful for that. And, you know, Peter, as long as I've known you, I've always thought like he just seems so sure of himself, so like fearlessly forward. And that's something I've always admired and have strived to like figure out for myself. And I feel like I've gotten a little better and better with it. And then especially with this year, it was like, I feel like I got a reignited sense of like, oh my gosh, that's right. Peter knows how to just tell it like it is when it's time to tell it like it is. And I feel like that's something that you have done to such a great expansive level, particularly the last 6-8 months or so, and like I said, has fueled me day in and day out with it. You're all a part of just the pillars of change that we're in right now, and that's why I'm really grateful that you're all here for this this first coming together on these things. I mean, it's definitely been a big year of change. It's been a big year of collaborating, and especially I really love what you said in that, Tanika, that it's been a year that's made people almost have to have an involuntary experience of what it's like to really be held down, to be really restrained and constrained and held back by power and control that is so above and beyond you. It doesn't matter how loud you shout. That's a tough truth to hear, because we want to believe that we always still have power, and we do have power and control in some ways, but we don't have it over everything. And Black people, people of color, Indigenous people, as I've said through my Tough Talks, when you are the minority in the room, be it because of your race, your gender, your identity, your expression, your creeds, your culture, you experience that overwhelming restraint and constraint of who you are and what you can do and what you can be, simply because of what's in the air that chokes it out of you. 2020 did that to so many more people than I think has ever been that universal experience. And that's terrifying. It's easy to be even more divided because of an experience like that, because a lot of people will be the frog that you put in a cooler pot of water and you slowly heat it up and it doesn't realize it's getting cooked because that water heated so gradually. I mean, that's what it felt like when you've got one side of things saying there's a virus spreading in the air, go home and isolate, and on the other side there are people, masses, organizing and gathering to go out in crowds to say it's not real, it's not real. And it's just that little bit helps to restrain everything else. I mean, that almost just becomes the play of a power dynamic, that if you feel like, well, if you're out there, then maybe you feel like you are even more in control than everyone else who just isn't out there. And then that breaks for more division. And the division just leads to greater loss, which is what I want us to have a moment to acknowledge a bit, because we've all lost. We've all lost a lot. We've lost people, we've lost opportunities, we've lost trust, we've lost networks. And that's okay, because that's also a part of growth and change. It might be some of the most unpleasant and uncomfortable parts of it, but we can't deny it. It nourishes us in its own way, and we have to, we want to have that balanced diet, that healthy meal. Then we have to acknowledge it and take that in with it. One of my big losses, I lost my unconditional faith in granting everyone respect before they've earned it. I've lost that. I used to just greet everyone with the positivity and with like, I'm going to trust you till you give me a reason not to. I've lost that. I will no longer grant trust until it's earned. And if that involves having more walls, that's part of the change and growth I need to try, because I haven't tried that yet. And I'm feeling more and more okay with it the more I get to really voice that and name that I have had too much trust for too many people. I've said too many times, I'm just going to give you my all and go for it. And I believe we'll make it happen, because I've come to understand that I am more often than not wagering far more of my heart and capacity than those who are meant to meet that wager. And so that's a little bit of a loss for me, but I'm okay with it. I'm gonna grow from that. I'm gonna flip it. Tanika, share a little of some loss that you would like to express.
Wow. I feel like for me, like my career is everything. I don't have a family. I don't have anything. I live away from my family. So like to lose, like it's so superficial to just say I lost my gig, but like it was devastating when it happened. And I did go into a depression. And I went back home and I was just on the couch. And so for me, like I feel like I've gained a lot in this year, but I lost that sense of like I'm in control, like I'm making my destiny. And for someone like, you know, if you feel like you're fighting for everything so just to have things just like end, like it's done. That was like so eye-opening because you're not in control. And it just reminded me to like really, 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 really like just be so grateful for everything, waking up, literally waking up. So, you know, I lost that sense of like invincibility and gained like understood how vulnerable and connected everything is. Yeah.
Oh, I feel that. I feel that a lot. I think a lot of people can relate to that. Yeah, I can't even. I'm not going to go on that. Thank you, Peter. Voice some of your loss.
I've lost the ability to trust people who don't speak out publicly against racism. I've looked at certain friends' Facebooks just to see if they would speak out, and they still haven't. I've lost the sense of, not sense, I've lost the ability or the freedom to just celebrate things with friends because I'm worried about how they might feel, and maybe there's some loss they're experiencing. So I'm just like trying to be really careful. And I feel like I should just keep quiet sometimes because I don't know what anyone else is going through. I don't know, it's weird. Okay, so I lied. I didn't lie. I misspoke a little. I did go back to acting class online, and we've been doing things. And I said I didn't like doing the acting thing, but it when I finally found the spark in a scene I was working on, it took a couple weeks. So I feel like I've lost the ability to find that connection to the art because it's not being done the same way. I lost my grandma to a heart attack last week, and in that I realized that I also lost the ability to grieve with my family. Yeah.
I just want to hold a moment there for your grandma. Thank you for sharing. You know, again, it's.
Thank you.
Ajay.
Sorry for your loss, Peter. I also lost a family member this year as well. And it's good. It's bringing that emotion up in me because you know, I'm still processing it. But yeah, what really resonated with me was like the loss to grieve with family. But for me, I was fortunate enough to be able to fly out to my hometown, my dad's hometown, Houston. But because my parents are high risk, they were not able to go. So yeah, I definitely feel that it's very real. That grief, that the ability to process together, it's so real, that collective healing. So that loss has that's been a weight on me. Other things that lost in 2020. At the beginning of 2020, I read the book The Four Agreements. And so I was able to lose a lot of attachments that I had to different things. My attachment to needing out external validation. I also lost the ability to my safe space of being able to perform. Because for me, a lot of where I felt safe was in this intangible realm of being present. So with that, I had to find other ways to be creative, which was cooking, simple things, and doing DIY. So for me, I really lost a sense of self, which is really attached to the performer in me. And I was also, I had that moment of making that choice to create new attachments. And that attachment was to a new community where I was able to meet BJ, a new attachment to different boundaries that allow me to sustain myself in 2020. I had to lose my attachment to social media. I had to be like, all right, I don't need that. So a lot of the losses that I had in 2020 really were moments that gave me the opportunity to create something new, um, and build new perspectives. Um, with Soul Tree Sisters and Arts and Wellness Collective, we normally meet in person. So that was a big loss. I do too, like you, Peter, really resonate with being in person, having that energy. Um, but with that, was able to build a new attachment to what it is to build an online community and what it is to create with intention. Like, as long as the intention is there, like, what can we keep as we lose? What do we carry with us? As the pieces are broken, what do we hold with us to create something new, like a mosaic? So I feel like for me, although there was a lot of broken pieces in 2020 of falling, in 2021, I would like to create a mosaic and keep the memory of my uncle, create the memories that I lost of tokens of resilience of 2020.
I love that imagery of of a mosaic filled with tokens of resilience as you're shaping your 2021. I love that. Thank you, Alyssa. Thank you, AJ. Blax, let me come to you.
I'm kind of in the same boat as AJ. A lot of my losses became growths. Um, Still trying to grow from things. Um, of course, as an artist in theater, I had multiple gigs lined up for the year and all that stuff, and then COVID happened, and they're like, "No, you don't. Not anymore." Um, One of them, or multiple of them, kind of, because it stopped, it went into this, okay, we're gonna hold for a minute, and then it kind of, because of the BLM stuff that happened, and that kind of unfolded people and how they actually are and their real selves. I'm like, oh, you're like that. I'm not gonna work with you. I'm not fucking with you. I can't. So I left. Like I said earlier, I left a company that I was with for 5 years, and I felt like family. Um, but then when our lives are literally at stake, it showed their true colors, and I'm like, this, I gotta go. Um, because of that, it kind of just spiraled into me being forced out of my house that I was living in because they were also my landlords. But because of California law, you don't need a reason. They said, oh, you have 60 days, get out. It just started this whole snowball effect of just shit. um, Personally, I'm kind of the same boat about the respect thing and trust. I've bent over backwards for people for my entire life, because that's how the person that I've been. Now I don't give a fuck. Like, I kind of what you were saying earlier, BJ. You got to earn my trust. I can't just hand it out willy nilly because I don't know you. Um, I'm still trying to grow from these losses and stuff like that, but it's something that's still very real. Yeah, I guess that's it. I mean, I don't know. I did also lose the self feeling that he was talking about, and the connection with theater and trying to do online projects that just aren't the same, but they pay my bills kind of. um, yeah, I just like, even this makes me want to punch a hole in the wall. So I'm like, I just want to like touch and hold and because that's how I am, and I'm a very emotional person. So like when I see Peter and AJ talking about losses, I'm just like, I just want to hug you, but I can't. So that yeah, that's probably the biggest, or one of the biggest losses, is just being able to help people the way I usually want to and usually have been. But yeah.
Thank you. I'm like trying to take a minute to breathe for myself. Because yeah, I mean, I feel all of that. Sarah, let me come to you.
I love that, Blax, you were talking about growth. And I think that's my loss, is my way that I've always felt was important for me to grow is to find meaning in things. And that's what has been taken away by COVID and everything that's happened this year. On Juneteenth, like that morning, I found out I was pregnant. And I was like, oh my God, it's my activist baby. I was like born in joy. And like, I got to be, for the first time in months, I was with every talented person that I knew. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is meaningful. This is important. This day is going to be pivotal in my life. And like, this baby is going to be this. And then lost my baby. And because of COVID and the way that the hospitals don't have policies in place right now to deal with pregnant women. It was a brutal, physically and emotional, brutal process. And when Thanksgiving rolls around and everyone's like, say what you're grateful for. And I was like, the fuck, I'm not grateful for anything. There was no meaning in that. That had no meaning. That is just a horrible thing that happened. But I think rolling right out of that into working with Tanika and working on Destroyers and like having to be, as a teacher of POC, I've always felt deeply whenever there's been another news story of something horrible happening, that I'm like, those are all my kids, you know what I mean? But I think really working with Tanika and doing that role of being the mom of someone that died, and then realizing, like, for the first time as a white woman, going, there was no purpose for all that pain, for all those centuries, for 1,000 years of pain. There was no reason. And we're not going to look at that and go like, wow, like what a beautiful creation people of color have become because they've been so strengthened by what we've done as white people. So I think that is a growth in of itself, that like, there's nothing wrong with positivity, but to stop trying to assign, I don't know if that's a white person thing or a woman thing or a Christian thing, but to always say like, there's a higher purpose for these things that happen. And instead to go, no, there's actions that we can take because this is just a horrible thing that happens and it doesn't have to keep happening. And to stop saying like, pain is beautiful and, this horrible thing like made you a better person, and like refiner's fire, like it's not always, I don't think it's that. I think that has totally been eradicated from me. And then I think the other loss that I've had, one of the ways that I've always tried to activate my allyship is in being a teacher and bringing that, whatever POC perspective I can from what I hear from my friends and what I see in music, and bringing that into the classroom so that no kid leaves my room without understanding that, love is love and Black Lives Matter, and all the ways that we try to have diversity and inclusion in my room. But my kids don't know me this year. So, they don't understand why I'm showing them T Grizzly's first day out, and like what I'm trying to get across in like the way that we express ourselves, and like that all music has value because all people have value, and like that we need to bring in these different perspectives. And they're just like, this crazy woman that I see once a week on Zoom, like she keeps doing these weird lessons and I don't get it. And so like I'm missing that connection where, you know, I've had many times a kid in my classroom, you know, pipe up with all lives matter. And like, I'm so glad you said that, because now let's spend the whole hour talking about why what you just said made half the class furious to the point of fighting. And let's talk, you know, because maybe they don't have that opportunity in their math class. And I can't wait till the new year brings hopefully a return to some sanity in our education, so that I can go back to my kids even knowing what my face looks like. So that's it.
Oh my gosh. I already admire you for so much, Sarah, but I admire you only more for your continued honesty and openness to build these conversations, to build understanding, and like I said, to keep being a pillar of change as you have been, as you continue to be. We're gonna keep moving with this in a second. But I want to, I guess, just speak a little more even to that it's because I hear so much of, I hear everything everyone's saying. I hear you all, and I know I have felt different essences of everything we're all saying in this, and I mean, we've all definitely appropriately come to these different resolutions where we know that we can't look at trust the same way. We know we can't look at just our sense of positivity for ourselves and necessarily for those around us in the same way. Things have to change. The world keeps changing. A lot of shit keeps changing too fast, maybe even, but we've got to keep changing with that. And one of the things I wanted to just wrap it around into as well, though, is the other thing that I am leaving behind in 2020, that as far as I'm concerned, I've lost it and I don't want it back, is any rubric of the binary thinking system. It's not a binary world, and I'm not doing any more of this binary bull crap. Okay, right and wrong do not exist on a perfect 180 axis, and good and bad doesn't exist on a 180 axis. Nothing's existing on this stupid 180 axis. And I'm not accepting that anymore from anyone that tries to suddenly make things sound like it's so clearly, plainly black and white, because I'm done with that. I'm done with all of that. As much as people want to justify for it, it's like, no. I'm taking the inclusion, I'm taking the acknowledgement and the acceptance of yes and yes and. Yes, something can be terrible and have absolutely no purpose to it, because that does exist in this world. Something can be toxic and be something that we can completely do without. Something can be poisonous and have a particular purpose if used appropriately. We got to get past this crap of trying to think it's all one or the other, and the conditioning the world tries to keep us on all of this one or the other. And that's something I am happily saying I've lost and that I'm done with as we move forward in all of this freaking madness. And speaking of madness, you know, this is probably going to get a little bit more into what I like to call getting out the guff, because you got to get out the guff sometimes. Shit's whack, shit's wild. And, you know, if America isn't the ongoing reality series that proves that 10 times a day, I mean, here we are, you know, we've been in a pandemic for a long time. We've got too many deaths, too many cases, little to no mass organization on anything. And a number of vaccines that are trying to roll out in different ways and means, and a number of people that are trying to decide how it should all be distributed. you don't have to give too much on this, but you can give as much as you'd like to always with it. On just where do you stand with how you're feeling about things in your area with the virus? Where are you on thoughts with the vaccine? Kind of just in that nutshell. And for me, it's San Diego. I'm in the college area right by SDSU. Well, you know, they've been a mess for months, bless their hearts. I'm still happily in my Rapunzel syndrome of just not going out. I did lose a sense of, you know, trusting walking around in the world in 2020, but I'm okay with that because I think it's keeping me safer at this point. I mean, I'm terrified of dying from the virus, but at this point, I think I have a better chance of dying from the virus than I do from a vaccination. So, you know, I'm ready to get my shot when it's time to get my shot. That's where I'm at. Who would like the mic next?
I'll start. And you like to say your shot, but don't throw away your shot. But and BJ knows this because I talked about it yesterday in a different session. I'm a DoorDash driver, so I have to go out. It pays my bills. I drive anywhere from 5 to 8 hours a day. I'm masked up. I got sanitizer in my car, like full blown everything. I am 99% sure I had COVID back in March. Highly do not recommend. The body aches are disgustingly hurtful. I mean, yeah, I didn't go out for months after I realized that I was having those symptoms and stuff, but lately, because I've been more full-time DoorDash driving because rent, it's a little frustrating when I see people also, either other drivers or just people going to get food or walking in stores without masks on, or the whole like under their nose thing, and it makes me want to punch a hole in the wall or in their face. Either one, same thing, you know. I live in Escondido, so it's a little more. I mean, it's kind of the same to me, anyways. Everyone's crazy. There was a coffee shop up here, I forget the name of it, but they did not care. Their employees were unmasked. All their patrons were inside like a regular coffee shop, bunched up, no social distancing or anything like that. The owner put a message out or a video or something saying, "You don't need to be sheep and this is ridiculous. Live your life. You can't live in fear, blah, blah, blah." And he was a white man. I'm not surprised. It makes me more frustrated. As far as the vaccine, I'm kind of with BJ. When it's ready, I'm going to take it. If I need to be a guinea pig to let us know that it's fine and it's okay, when it becomes fine and okay, then so be it. I want to see, for own selfish reasons, but also for everyone else, even in this session, I want to see us be able to do what we want to do. And I want us to be able to grow and live how we want to live. And living in this is not how I want to live. I'd rather be in somebody's house recording this on a video camera, just like a couple couches and chairs. Like that's just kind of like. So I mean, it is scary still, because I've seen people get it multiple times, COVID. I hope not, because it's not fun, as I said earlier. But and then going back to BJ about what he's saying, even just being a Black man walking around the neighborhood, there was times where I stopped walking my dog and she's a pit bull, so of course the aggressive thing happens, and me being Black and, you know, a hat or a hoodie or whatever, just I'm a target. I've grown a little bit more from that to not give a fuck, because I live here, I'm a citizen, like I have the right to walk my own dog. But I'm trying to push through as much as I can.
I can take props to that, because I definitely have hit that point of now I walk. I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna walk wearing what I want to wear. You know, I got this great sweatshirt that now it's got a beautiful collage of faces of the many wonderful people we lost from our community, and it's like I wear that and strut down the middle of the street, because it's like I can do that unapologetically at this point. But then I see people not wear a mask and I'm like, fuck, and I gotta like run out. It's like, no.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing. Who would like the mic? Go ahead, Sarah.
I was just going to say, I think it's so amazing that, you know, in the same way that people who say all lives matter, like, you know what you're saying. We don't need to educate you anymore. You know exactly that you're saying something inflammatory. Whatever you think that, or you convinced yourself that you mean by that, you know what you're doing. Same way, you know what I mean? The Union Jack flags, and like, you may say that it means this, but you know damn well that it means this. And it's the same thing with those masks, that like these people, and it's, I'm so ashamed, it's always white people, and it's almost always white women, that are just going about their lives without that mask, just to go to Home Depot. Like, so that was what you decided this morning, that you're like, I'm gonna get in a fight. You know what I mean? And in every aspect of their life throughout their day, every time they go out and deal with humans now, it's going to be a fight, because someone's going to say, excuse me, you can't come in here, or someone in the store is going to glare at you or whatever. And so like, oh my, on the one hand, like, who are these people that are just like, I want to fight every day, all day long? But also like, how is that going to affect that whole subset of our community when their only interaction for the last year has been, when you're with humans, you fight? You know what I mean? Like, how does that reshape your brain chemistry? That they're like, the only way that I can interact with others or talk with anybody is that the whole world is against me and I have to fight for Jesus. Because I think they really do think that they are fighting for Jesus in not wearing that mask. Yeah, I don't understand.
I'm just like hearing the like, stand up for Jesus, like playing in the background of it.
Right. I want that like everything we do as artists is smelly, stinky, sweaty, in too close of proximity, is full of bacteria. Like, until we get this under control, we're not going to be able to do what we do. We can't have a dressing room until we can be like 20 people in a small space and rubbing up against each other's sweaty arms and like kissing a stranger in the audition. Like, I want it. It got back to it. So give me that shot. I'll take it today.
All right, line of work is so gross, but we love it. Right.
There's no solution. It has to be gross. So we need a shot. We probably should have had shots long ago. You probably should get vaccinated when you become
an actor.
Like, here's your bachelor's of arts, and also there you go. Come back every 6 months.
If I can chime in real quick, it's funny you say that, because there's a lot of the stuff that like sanitizing everything every now and then, stuff that we're doing now, we should have been doing long time ago. We should have been doing it. Like,
spoiler alert, artists do it. Artists already do it. We do it when we're going to those dressing rooms. We're doing it when we're going for, like, we know, and we take care of ourselves with that stuff.
It's sad that a global pandemic is like, oh, we should probably clean those turnstiles at Disneyland. Like,
don't say that. Oh no.
Tough truth.
I mean,
who would like it next? Tanika, Peter, Ajay, thoughts? Tanika, go ahead.
So, damn, so many things I wanted to say. Yes, give me the shot. But I do understand this hesitation, especially with our community. Like, we were experimented on. We were given intended diseases. So, you know, as long as I see everybody taking these shots, white people first, go, yes, give me the shot. give me the shot. Yeah, that's it for now.
Agreed. Peter.
I'll go. I want the shot. Yeah, I'll do it. I think anyone who can should, not just for protection for myself, but I want to be able to be around others. And, you know, once we get the shot, we still have to wear masks. I believe in the science. I'm going to follow it. My parents are in their 70s. I want to be able to see them. I don't want to potentially harm them. I'm a hypochondriac. I haven't like hung out with anyone. I haven't even done like an outdoor restaurant. I can't put anyone else at harm. I just can't imagine testing positive and wondering who I might have come in contact with. I'd have so much anxiety over that.
Oh my God, agreed. AJ.
Yes, I will take the shot as well. My sister is a public health professional. She worked for the CDC before, and she's an epidemiologist, and she's going to school. So I've had the best resource, my sister, to update me on, all those things. So I'm pro taking this shot, and I'm also with Peter on continuing to wear a mask, continuing to. What we should have been doing is cleaning surfaces and all that. For me, as a Pilates practitioner, I've decided to lead by example and making sure that, I set the tone and the bar for my clients. And so I've since December, I've just done online, because at the end of the day, like, it is important to move. And I know a lot of people have been saying, like, we need to move, and mental health and all that stuff is important. I agree. But I want to keep in mind just the public health measures that we need to put before that. Like, it's what you're saying, BJ. Yes, and yes, we need to move. Yes, we need to create. Yes, and so that's the and is the shot for me. Yes, and shot, and then the next, and the next, and the next, and let's continue to create a standard where we listen to public health professionals, and public health is the forefront, not just acute health of just like when the disease happens or when an injury happens. I think I would like to set the tone of when people are predicting like that more of these pandemics are going to happen, that we become more vigilant about climate change and environmental justice and all that stuff, like, because this is just the beginning. So for me, I'm like, the shot is a part of this journey that we're taking. So I want to do this because I want to continue to do the work. And if we stop at the shot, then we're not going to get anywhere else, right? So that's my opinion about where we are and where I see the whole system of us working together to be more preventative.
Oh, I love that. I've loved everyone saying, and I'm grateful to hear that we have a lot that we're all in common on the same page with, because that just adds a little more comfort to me, even of like knowing, okay, a lot of people are thinking this through, and if we're feeling it along the same way, like, then we've got to be lingering on the right track at the very least, right? It's the thing I say all the time to students, especially. But when it comes to the arts, especially when it comes to theater or any kind of activity in the arts that's about a group or an ensemble, the first and foremost thing you have to remember and accept is that it's not about you. It is about a bigger picture. It is about a greater whole ensemble and community for whatever is trying to be achieved. And you have to have that acknowledgement and that conscientious compassion in your actions, in your practices, in your preparations, in your efforts. Otherwise, you're dooming whatever the project is. And, unfortunately, when the project is something like keeping the globe alive, keeping people alive on the globe, because the earth will sustain itself without us, probably better without us. But that's a conversation for another day. If we can't be on the same page of just like, oh, follow the main basic measures to keep people from dying of the virus, like, it's mind-boggling how people don't understand that the result will be more people dying from the virus by not following the things of the virus. You don't get to will it out of existence. It's never happened. It's never, ever worked.
BJ, I think it's because they have halitosis and they don't want to deal with their own breath. They want to continue to make us deal with their breath. No, you deal with your problem right here.
I mean, you know what I miss? I miss stinky breath. I don't miss stinky breath, but I miss the dynamics of being able to hear people's voices live.
Yeah.
Like, I just miss hearing people shouting in a room or literally actually laughing out loud when we used to just actually laugh out loud in rooms together. It's God, it sucks. It just sucks. And it's insane that we can't get closer to that day because we still have people that think deadly diseases are fake. Like, what? And, we kept asking, it's like, I asked myself, why or how? How do we end up with people that think and act this way? But the same answer is the because, which puts us into our last thing we're getting into, because we have the same people in this country that will say a virus is fake and will say an election is rigged just because it didn't work out for them. And in between will just follow whatever rando facts someone sends along to them that they like more, that they prefer, like it's a flavor of ice cream and, not concrete evidence of the world. And that is our current state of politics in America. Clearly it's our current state of like almost frickin' everything. And it's just, it's just, I don't know. I don't know what the right word is for it. It's asinine. It's bogus.
Can I jump in real quick?
Please do. Yeah.
It's also sad. They have this mentality of like America and freedom and entitlement and all this stupidity. Like they're using that. I'm in America. I'm free. I can do whatever I want, and I don't believe in whatever. I'm not going to be a sheep. But this guy sounds great. He may, like it just baffles me how people can use where they live as an excuse or a reason to do or not do certain things. Like South Korea a couple months ago, they had a full theater filled with people, no social distancing. They all had masks on still because they're smart, but they were watching a full production of Phantom of the Opera. Like I saw a video, like it's a thing. Again, they're also them and I think Tokyo or somewhere over there. They've been wearing masks just because like they're trying to be nice to everyone else if they're sick or they're trying not to get sick. They've been doing it way before America even thought about we should probably wear a mask in public. It's just like the stupidity of I'm free, I can do whatever I want, I don't have to listen to you. That can only go so far. And it's causing us to not go farther as a country.
I agreed. Yep. Go ahead. Whoever would like. It's like let's just keep kind of passing this mic.
Absolutely. United we stand, divided we fall. So if everybody's all about themselves, individualistic, you can go faster, but you won't go far. Like you can get there first, but ain't nobody there with you. So did it happen? Like we got to stop being so individualistic. It's not just about us. We are all connected, and America struggles with that concept. We've never really got that. Yeah. So what affects you affects me. That's it.
But people don't get it. But people still don't get it somehow. We have more politicians dying by the day right now from this virus. We literally have more and more elected politicians at this point dying by the day. And it's been more Republican politicians dying than Democrat politicians dying.
Right. How much more proof do you want than that the president got it? Like, that's not enough? It's still not real?
See, he also is not the kind of person to like just do something just for, he kind of is for publicity, but like he wouldn't get it and then go to a hospital, whatever, just so like people can kind of just like kind of realize like it's a real thing. He looked like shit.
Yeah.
He's not an actor as much as he wants to be. So he can't, it's like, oh, I'm so sick. He looked terrible.
Yeah.
He had it. Like, there's no more proof you need. And you have these top doctors saying, yep, he's got it. But people don't believe in science. So which is a whole another issue. Global warming.
Yeah, they talk about how it is kind of funny that, you know, that person is sort of the flat earther. That is sort of ridiculous that they don't believe in science, they don't listen to research, they don't whatever. And it's sort of ridiculous because you sort of picture who this person is, but then you also realize that those are the same people blocking LGBTQ plus rights and have been. And those are the same people oppressing, you know, minorities in the workplace and thinking that they're a hero for like standing up for their wedding cakes, or, you know what I mean? And like, it's in so many aspects. And that's why we're at the point we are, as you said, in climate change. Like, we're literally burning the planet down because of that group of people in every way, socially, politically, environmentally.
But they don't believe in climate change.
Right.
Instead, some go so far as to believe that instead of climate change being a real issue, 5G is a real issue, and I can't stand to live with it and the potential of alligator men trying to take over the world. So let me go end myself and hopefully take out AT&T with it. Which it's like, oh wait, that's last week in America.
Yeah.
They don't want to give up this power, this superiority complex that's there. Yeah. They just want to, they're dying. They're dying from COVID, but they're also dying on this sword of, no, we are the conquerors. We are the ones that started this country, and we are the founders. And no, we don't believe in multiculturalism. We don't believe in LGBTQIA folks. We don't believe in any of that shit. Like, this is what it is. Like, you're so stubborn. You're so stupidly stubborn. Oh my God. You just gonna die because you want to be right? Okay. All right. Go ahead.
Dying for the cause.
Yes, and proud to, right?
Right.
Go on TikTok and it's full of young blonde white girls who are like holding up the cross saying, you know, give me COVID and give me death. Like, well,
okay.
Well, you know who just got right in line behind them? Unfortunately, a lot of the gays, the queer gay men. I will speak specifically to the queer gay men of our communities. And I mean, this is something that I know, like Peter and I have been on top of, as it's been just worse with going into the new year. So many mass organized underground events across our country, and then just blatantly large, wild, private, but loud and proud, out and about events internationally from queer gay men, from frontline queer gay men ICU nurses, including some right here out of San Diego and LA, who left on Sunday and Monday and went down to places like Puerto Vallarta and Rio de Janeiro to just party it up all week like it's 2005.
I actually found a post this morning. So Gays Over COVID it's an Instagram at Gays Over COVID, and they have a new Twitter. They posted this morning, there's actually an epidemiologist who traveled to Puerto Vallarta to be part of the New Year's Eve festivities. And it's like, how do you even, so first of all, you are in the medical field, you should know how this works. You are being affected at work. Your life is hell at work because so many people are disobeying guidelines. And then on top of that, you have a huge social media following, thousands of followers. You're posting all these stories, dancing with other men shirtless in these non-social distance parties, possibly spreading COVID. And then the thing that's like, that even makes it worse is these are the same people who are the privileged gatekeepers of the gay community who try and tell us how we should look and how we should act to be accepted in the community. And they are displaying this awful behavior, influencing other people to think it's okay. And it's just mind-boggling the amount of just disregard they have. There's even someone who is posting a $500 reward to find whoever is the owner of the Gays Over COVID account and trying to expose these people. And I know there's like conversations about cancel culture, but cancel culture is really just someone being mad about not being able to do whatever they want on social media. Like, you're just being held accountable. You're just unliked, rightfully so, for this specific behavior, especially.
There's a separate group now that is attacking anyone supporting gays over COVID, as well as like that's attacking gays over COVID, and they're calling those now, like myself and Peter, who are saying, you know, we're going to call you out on what you're doing wrong. We're being labeled as Karens, and there's a group that's called Gays Over Karens that's now trying to like push back to anyone who is speaking out about people violating social distancing protocols and all of that. Like, how do you try and turn that around and suddenly say like, oh, those who are caring about trying to like maintain social distance and follow proper protocols so that we're not spreading the virus more are the Karens? Is that genuinely what you think? And unfortunately, the answer is yes, it is what they think, because somehow they think that what they're doing is justified and is okay.
They're the same people that don't believe in the thing, and they don't care about science and all that kind of stuff. So like, sadly, it makes sense that they're doing that, because they're just, how do I say it? It makes sense because they're being stupid about not believing what they're trying to prevent. You get me. And I like,
it's hard to say logically.
Exactly. And like, just while you guys were talking, I was looking at the feed. It's wild. Like, wow.
And the thing is, like with Gays Over COVID, it's essentially only like a newsletter. It's just a newsletter posting what other people are already doing. It's not creating anything. It's not rumoring. It's like, hi, this is someone's profile. Here they are doing this. Here they are doing
this is what you posted for everyone to see. We're just amplifying it for you. You're welcome.
And there was even one in there that I saw something about, underline, don't share the address. So you're posting it, but trying to be secret about it, and then getting mad when you get found out about it.
Events in San Diego, events in LA, events in Puerto Vallarta, events in Rio de Janeiro. Like it is all over the place. To bring it back to, you may or may not have heard, to like our local area in San Diego, in Miramar. There was this New Year's Eve party that was trying to like be underground, and apparently the coordinators have been throwing a series of parties at this location throughout the year. They've been shut down multiple times, but this one was the ultimate shutdown because people got hurt. A stage that was illegally built in this place collapsed, and people were hurt to the point where paramedics had to be called. Of course, this was also being coordinated to allow people 18 to 22 to enter. You could also bring your own alcohol, or you could also pay a little bit more for the little VIP section that was, nice and close knit, but also just unlimited drinks. Miramar.
Yeah, that's the cops' job to arrest these people, and they should be fined, and it should be some type of like charge. That's police enforcement at that point, because if folks don't think it's a game, maybe if I start tapping into your bank account and putting some shit on your record, then it won't be a game. And these people going out of the country to party, what's the book where the boys is on the island and they all end up fighting each other? We didn't leave
Lord of the Flies.
Lord of the Flies. Leave them right where they are. You can't come back. You all, since you want to be together, be together. This is ridiculous. It's so selfish. You might think you can catch COVID and fight it, but somebody you know and love won't be able to. So like, you're basically saying you're shitting on them. You're like, I don't care about you. And if you're watching this, you suck. Like, stop doing that. Why are you taking everybody's lives into your own hands? Why are you playing God with folks? You want to go catch COVID in Puerto Vallarta? You stay your ass over there. Stay your ass isolated, away from people who are trying to live and care about their grandparents and their parents and the babies. Like, what are you doing? Like, really? This is insane.
It's wild. When I hear people make statements about things on just like, I can fight the virus. Like if I get it, I'll get it. Da, 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 da. All I can think of is like, you just sound like anytime I hear any of my white friends, and I haven't heard this in a long time, but growing up, hearing my white friends, I would be like, man, I'll just punch that cop in his face. It must be so nice to be able to just say things like that and even somehow think that's a potential possibility for you. It must be so nice to somehow think like, I'm strong enough that I can fight this unknown virus. Like, wow. Look at you. You're such a hero to yourself, aren't you? Are you freaking kidding me? Like, why? Why do I don't understand how it's so pervasive, this thinking of, I can be anything and I can do anything, I am the Starlight Express. If you know Andrew Lloyd Webber's Starlight Express, I just like one of those lyrics where it's like, I am the starlight, I can achieve anything. Like, why do people think that's the case with fighting a virus? What is wrong with you?
Entitlement, white America.
I think right up until I saw there was like an ICU nurse that was like, so you think you can survive this? Great, you probably will. But let me show you my patient. And it was a big old white guy face down in an adult diaper. And she's like, so he's intubated, conscious, and he's going to be like this in this sort of humiliation for the next 2 weeks. And that's what it means. Like people think that they're going to go to the hospital and have a nice vacation, watch TV for those 2 weeks. They're like, no, you're in constant pain. And Kevin, you have to talk to us about whether your lung capacity has come back since March. Because many of my students have had it. I think I have 3 students now that have had it and they still can't sing, don't have any kind of stamina because their lungs are so affected.
So this is why I'm not 100% sure, because I didn't get tested back then. But I didn't get all of the symptoms. I didn't get the loss of sense or smell and taste. I had a regular fever, but the body aches were the worst part. The lung capacity, I'd say like it was a factor for a while. Now I just think it's because I don't exercise and I don't have any stamina. Because even singing in my car, like I'm like, oh, can I sing this? It's not enough for me to be really obvious about like that's for sure COVID. Again, me not working out every day and eating fast food because life.
Does that have anything to do with it? It's all COVID.
Exactly.
My brother and sister-in-law and several other family members back east all caught it, and for the most part, most of them are like pretty much back to normal. A couple of them have just had lingering, just unwellness and have never gotten back to a place of feeling like fully recuperated. But I've got one family member who sounds completely different. And it's like, it's difficult for me, especially as a vocalist and having the fear and worry around it. It's very difficult to try and not react when I'm speaking to them because I'm, it's like, I just, it pains me. It pains me so much, even just with the sense of sound and thinking like, am I ever going to get to hear them sound the way they used to sound? Like,
yeah.
It definitely drives me to that point of like, I want to punch a wall in that moment. Like, I just don't get it.
That's fucking terrifying to me. And actually at my school, it's the only way that I get to have the level of safety that I want. They don't care about, we're all touching these same clipboards. We're all touching these same, whatevers. If we were to die, they don't care about that. But when I was like, it really could affect my voice and that's my livelihood. They're like, oh, okay. Well, if it's going to be your singing voice. Okay. Well, that is my fear. I'd actually rather.
Yeah.
I
it's
feel
kind of everything.
Like I would rather die than lose my singing voice. So it is like, those are sort of equal.
Yeah.
Errors.
Yeah. It's where kind of bringing it a little bit more on the political side, because I want to get this guff out too. Because I feel like the more I voice it, the better I'll feel about it all and however it frickin' works out. I was mentioning this a little bit yesterday in the Tough Talk. I was really, it's like, obviously the rollout's been abysmal and I didn't expect anything more, quite honestly. But I also had a little bit of like a cringe moment when President-elect Biden was saying last month, we're going to get 100 million vaccines out in the first 100 days. Because I just thought, no, to me, it felt like, is this giving into the trap of just trying to like one up things going on? Could you give me one equation mathematically that shows the potential for that theory? Because like saying 20 million in a number of weeks and then like barely 2 million or like just under 3 million in like, 2.5 weeks. I don't know if 100 million in 100 days was an okay thing to say, because for me, it's like, I don't think I believe that at all. And I instantly start to get concerned of like, are you going to start feeding us ideas that may not come to fruition? Like, I'd rather you not. I really preferred the tone of like, it's going to get worse because it was going to get worse. And like, hey, that's transparent communication. It just kind of, it made me lower my head a little bit. And I kind of still wish that there'd be a clearer adjustment to that prediction and goal, because I think it's too far-fetched. I don't know how others feel about that, but it's like, please don't start fucking this up before you officially get going. I want you to get going, but I really don't want you to fuck it up too soon.
Joe said he was gonna win Pennsylvania, and he won Pennsylvania. No, I have to believe that we can do this.
No, yeah, I'm with you.
I have to, because
I want to hear this. I want to hear this.
Like they control us, they fucking depress us all the time, constantly. So I just have to, toxic positivity. But I hear you, because it's like, let's do the shit now then. What's up?
Yeah. I wasn't a fan of Trump from day one. Before he even thought about presidency, just his TV show, that was a shit show. I'm like, you just got problems. So once he got into office, I was like, oh shit, I'm dead. It's over. So truly, I was one of those people that was just like, anyone but him. To an extent, of course. Yes, of course. But like anyone but his kind of people. I have hope for, because I feel like he did so much harm to the country that like we can only really go up from here, in a sense. And especially it does help that Biden was vice president to Obama, which I'm like, Obama, yeah, great. It has that kind of like mental attachment. I'm like, okay, there has to be some good there because he was with Obama and like whatever. So that's where like my hope is really drawn from. I'm with Tanika, like, let's just do it now. Like, let's get it over with. Send him out. Let's go. Where's little drones? You just drop it off like Santa. Like,
Amazon, get that shit here tomorrow.
Right. So
I feel like if they partnered with the NFL, there would be enough drones to get this stuff everywhere in like 3 days.
Yep.
Like, let's be real.
I mean, they have freaking Amazon robots driving down the street themselves. Like, it's so, I feel like truly, if you want to just get it over with, there's so many ways that the world can just like truly get together. Talking about collaboration in 2020, like that was, the whole thing. If we truly just collaborate as a human race, it'll be over. But then you have people that just don't care and don't believe in it.
It's the same thing as climate change. We have all the solutions. We just don't want to spend the money on it. And same thing with, we could certainly have passed that legislation to get people their stimulus checks. We could certainly have vaccinated everybody. We could, like, you just got to spend the money. Spend the money. Just spend the money.
But we're so damn greedy. Mm-hmm. And we owe China so much money. Like, what? I just...
Somebody said $2,000 was a lot of money. That was too much money to give folks. Like, $2,000, I'm grateful for it, but it really ain't shit in California. Like,
drop in the bucket. It's a drop in the bucket.
Thank you.
Oh my God. I don't want to say what I want to say about those people, but that's just very evil. This
I
is
kind of
very.
want to know.
There's countries giving folks that every month.
Right, right, and have been doing that since the beginning of the pandemic. Like it's wild to think that they think that little of us as people, but because they're rich politicians, they're like, oh, I don't need it. I don't need to worry about it. So they clearly don't need to worry about it. No,
Think about who it's really affecting.
Exactly.
Who does COVID affect most?
Exactly.
Communities of color, communities of poverty. And where those two things over intersect, that's where the money is needed. So
but there's a greater effect right now. But there's a greater effect in the other direction of adding more money to those who already have way too much of it.
Right.
There's a greater effect of like, oh, as though the virus is getting worse, we're actually making more money than ever without having to spend it. So
the market is doing great. There's all kinds of people making tons of money during pandemic.
Look at Jeff Bezos.
Oh my God.
That man skyrocketed. He was already filthy rich, but now, if he really wanted to, he could probably solve the whole thing with his paycheck. Like, that man has too much money.
Yeah, my expectations about the rollout are very low because our leaders in this country have set the bar very low.
Right.
So it's for me, it's less of a matter on if I'll get the vaccine, but when. Like, I'm thinking maybe June is what in my mindset, just so I'm not disappointed. It's just hard to trust that they have any sense of urgency when they have all the luxury of time, and the people that they're supposed to be helping don't have that luxury. So
I agree with Sarah, what she said.
I feel exactly what you're saying, Peter, and I feel like that's where I'm trying to keep myself like in a space where I can keep a practical state of mind and not, try and think like, yeah, I'm gonna have it by March. Like, I'd love to say I'm gonna have it by March, but I'm not gonna let that be a thought, because I'd rather plan for the worst, and then let the bar end up somewhere a little higher than where I thought it was going to be. There was just also, the instant like sadness and depression that goes in trying to like set the bar so low and be like, fuck, is that really all we've got? Like, damn it, it sucks. It sucks to have to say, well, we're going to have 500,000 Americans dead before we probably start to have any sort of turnaround in the direction of this. And yet, it's the and yet that's a like very obtainable future that we're kind of already on track for. And at the same time, might almost be too optimistic to think that like, oh, well, by the time we're hitting that 500,000 number, we will be turning things around, because it's like, well, we're looking like we're going to reach that day sooner and sooner. We're tracking way too fast on our trip to 500,000.
And I don't think we even, I'm sure with all the parties and stuff on New Year's, like there's bound to be cases that are going to pop up now, and probably deaths already happened that haven't been accounted for. So it's probably, I was talking to another friend the other day, like January is probably going to be a really harsh month when it comes to cases and deaths and that kind of stuff.
That's what all top officials were saying. Yeah.
I don't want to see another politician get a shot on television. You should earn your damn shot. Your constituents, your voters, should all get your shot first, and then you earn the right to get your damn shot. It's so privileged and disrespectful to watch these rich ass people. I got my shot. Yay me. Like, somebody's dying right now. Why do I care about you getting your little punk ass shot? You don't even want to give me $2,000 for a whole year. You gave me $1,200 for 9 months of survival in California, in the Bay Area, in San Diego. Like, what the hell? So fuck you and your shot. Make sure your voters get their shot first. Captain go down with their shit. Leader, that's a leader. Your people, service your people. Your service to the people, not your damn bank account. offshore accounts. Like, I'm just, we need to start naming this shit. Like you said, AJ, like, this is greed. This is evil. This is not what leadership is about. We don't need to see you get a shot. No, shoot your voters first. Do that and then earn your shot. The hell, like, why? It's just like so disrespectful. Like, what?
Did we not spend months talking about equity? Did we not spend months talking about equity? Literally equity, where you take care of those who need it the most first, so that you are actually lifting everyone up.
Exactly.
Especially when those politicians were against COVID to begin with.
Right.
Why are you getting a shot of something you don't believe in?
They should have started with the DoorDash and the grocery store workers in DC, because they're the ones bringing all the food to Congress.
Thank you.
Whoever's making the least amount of money and having to put in the most hours are the people who need to be cared for first and foremost in this. It's very, very simple, because most of you politicians, not all of you, most of you are so well off, you can isolate in your homes for as long as you need to, and you got plenty of space to do it in. Or you've already got a second home or third home or whatever spot that you already can camp out in to get your political work done. It makes no sense to somehow think that, like, I need the actual shot in me now so that I can keep running around. You don't need to keep running around to do your job. You just need to sit in one place and get it done. I don't understand. And I just keep trying to keep myself mindful. I mean, it's where, like, I say we get out guff because all this is going to change tomorrow. It's all going to change tomorrow. And then it's going to change again on Tuesday. And it's going to be different again on Wednesday by the time we get to our next Tough Talk. And we will see where we're at by Wednesday. We'll see who has what seats, who still has a life, who's in hospitals, who's learning what, who still hasn't learned what. I mean, it is, the thing that 2020 brought to us, just greater amounts of uncertainty in our face, day in, day out, day by day, after day by day after day. And it's kind of still only just begun. That Spanish flu didn't just come and go with the turn of the year. Spoiler alert, it only got worse into that next year. Here we go again. And who knows where we will go from it all. But one thing I know for sure is that I could not be more appreciative and grateful to be keeping on with all this madness with all of you around, because you all certainly help to keep me sane and to keep me inspired and empowered and fueled to not only stay on my own path, but to keep shouting and speaking out and advocating as needed, as we're all doing and as we all in this world need to be doing. 2020 into 2021 has activated everyone to be an educator for someone else, if not just for themselves, because we are in such a fragile state that if you're not learning better, then you're only a part of things getting worse, or at least allowing things to get worse. And that's really tough, but we're in a big uphill climb and everybody's got to be climbing. And that's what it is, That's what made Tough Roundtables come to be. And I mean, this has just been an absolutely fantastic first session. And when I know we could keep going, we've already gone way longer than I thought we were going to go. And that's okay, because there's so much to be said and there's still so much more to keep saying. I cannot thank you all enough for being here. Kevin, Blax, Burroughs, Tanika, Baptiste, Sarah, Alida, LeClair, Alyssa, Ajay, Junious, and Peter Armado. You are all shining lights in this world and in my life especially. Thank you all so much for making this time, really. We're going to keep these talks going. We're going to keep table sessions happening, as well as tough talks and tough teas. And I not only look forward to having you all back, because we're going to have this table again, but y'all getting in on other tables and having other people come and join us. For those who are checking this out, if you're ever interested in joining a table session, a tea session, or a talk session, just get at me through our Tough Talk platforms on Facebook, on Instagram, or just email me at willbjrob@gmail.com. That's WILLBJROB@gmail.com. And we will see y'all for more talks, more tables, more tea sessions as we have them moving forward.